Well, hi, hello, and how are you doing out there in internet land? My name is Brian Trippett. I am the Front Porch Conservative, and welcome to the Wednesday night newsroom, that little gathering that we do when we get together and we talk about the news, we give our views, and we try to make a understanding of this crazy thing we otherwise call the life we're living. My name is Brian Trippett. I am sometimes known as the beau in the chapeau. I'm sometimes called the fine fella in the fedora. But above all else, in this hour, at this moment, I am your host. We are on Rumble, we are on Twitter, and we are on that quaint little alternative social media platform known as YouTube. So if you haven't done it yet, take the link, send it out to your friends, tell them to get in here. Go crazy, St. Louis, and let's see if we can turn this thing into one heck of a party. Glad to have y'all here tonight, and we have got a whole bunch of things lined up for you. Some things to make you laugh, some things to make you cry, some things to make you go, and, how you react to the is a whole other issue. Anyway, my name is Brian Trippett. I am glad to have you here. Welcome to the Wednesday night newsroom. Let's see who all is in the house so far. WWG1 is here, and he has lined up a whole host of memes. And WWG1, I'm going to address something here momentarily. You didn't do anything wrong. I need to explain what happened last night, but I'll get to that when we talk about the memes. Let's see who else is here. TBA is here in the house. Nobody's chiming in yet on the YouTube side. That's a little bit unusual. We will see what happens here. Wait. What do you mean you can't post some? All right, we can read, we can post. All right, well, then why is nobody speaking up yet? What is up with that? I don't have no idea. I see no comments. I see no comments from the YouTube people. What is up with that? Uh-oh. Let me guess. StreamYard is being its typical persnickety self. I tell you the truth. Ay. All right, maybe I can figure this out. What the heck? One moment, folks. Comments turned off over on YouTube. Well, that's possible. All right, let me go look. I'd hate to think that I had done that. Hang on. Let me go to the bottom of the thing. Comments are on. Moderation level none. Sort by top. Okay, well, that looks like that's normal. Okay, no, I don't think it's that. So, all right, well, I'll tell you what, we'll do this in some way to make it work, or try to anyway. Where is my link? What is my link? Why can I? Oh, there's my link.
Introducing the new...
I don't want to be introduced to anything. I just want you to work. Good Lord. Okay. Something's going on. Oh, okay, there we go. Now I got comments. All right. Ooh, I'm starting to get scared there. Hello, my dear. Mwah. Good evening to you, and good evening to you. Yes. All right, my peeps are in the house. This I am enjoying very much. Okay. Oh, goodness me. All right, hang on a second, folks. This whole keeping the window closed thing is just not going to work. If you get ambient noise from the outside, you have my apologies in advance, but give me 1 second here, because I got to do something about this. This is getting way too stuffy, even for my tastes. Okay. All right. One moment. Okay. Your host is... Okay. That's better. All right. Am I blurry? Well, I mean, that's possible. Hang on. My audience. No, the lights are on appropriately. All right, we'll see if we can touch it up that way. All right. See what's happening here. All right. Good to have you all here tonight. And, okay, well, looks clear. All right. Well, we're doing our best to try to make it all work for everybody. All right. Thank you for everybody who was here last night for my chat with Daniel R. Street. We've got some related news with regard to that. And it was Daniel said, hey, I've got an hour, but I can squeeze it in. I'm like, okay, that's cool, dude. We can do that. And that kind of gets me I want to apologize to WWG1 And even though the apology may not be altogether necessary, I still feel the responsibility as a host to kind of explain what happened. And that's basically how it went down. Daniel said, okay, I can come on, but I got an hour. I thought, okay, we're going to try and squeeze as much stuff as we can. So WWG1, I've got every one of your memes lined up tonight, brother. So, and boy, are they good. They are absolutely fantastic. But I just wanted to let you know that's what happened. So if I didn't use them last night, that's why, because I wanted to try and get as many questions in either from myself or from the audience as I possibly could. So I passed over the memes, but they are always appreciated whether they come from you or everybody else. I just want to let you know that's what was going on. And WWG1 says, no worries, Brian. Okay, cool. But like I said, I feel the responsibility as a host to kind of address that and just let you know what was going on. Also, by way of addressing things as a host, I kind of need to give you guys an update about Tracy. Tracy Barkley from GenX Marks the Spot. And I'm going to be a little bit cryptic about this. Not because I'm trying to be a tease or not because I'm trying to, tantalize or whatever, but just, I'm of the school of thought that says, unless I'm told that I'm at liberty to divulge something, I don't feel it appropriate for me to do so. But you may have noticed that the past few weeks, Tracy has not been available. And I mentioned last week that, I will. I'll pass it on, dear. Don't have no worries about that. No worries about that. I had mentioned last week that she was going through something, and she said, hey, can I just kind of forego hosting, last week and come back on this week? So I was like, okay, fine. So I reached out to her this morning when I was setting up the live stream, and I said, hey, just want to check in with you, make sure you're doing all right. Do you still want to, come on this evening and host? And if you don't feel like doing it, I understand completely. She's like, Brian, I really need to step back a little bit. And can you just kind of put me on a kind of a guest basis? I was like, sure, that's fine. That's no problem. Now, again, I'm not trying to tease you guys or what titillate or whatever. It's just like I said, I have not been given, and I don't think she would have a problem with me telling you what's going on. It's just that I don't feel it appropriate for me to do it unless I've been given explicit leave to do so. But she's going through a patch of something, and what she's going through really is messing with her. And it's not, this much I will tell you, it's not health related, okay? It's not health related. It's just one of those things in life that happens to people, and when it does, it really just messes you up in a bad sort of way. And I get it. I mean, having gone through it myself, it's never a good experience to have. And I'll just stop it right there. But she loves y'all. And, there will come a time when she's back on here on a guest basis, and we'll have her on here. We'll have ourselves a load of good time doing it. So, which kind of leads me to an idea that I want to run past you guys. And I've been thinking about this for a little while, when Tracy, mentioned what she did to me. I like, you guys know me. I love doing my live streams. Okay. I love doing my live streams. I can do them solo. I also love it when I've got a guest host with a co-host with me. So what I'm thinking about doing is I want, if I can do this, you set it up early enough on a regular basis, I'd like to have like a rotational series of guest hosts on the Wednesday night newsroom. I just think it'd be a load of fun. Because I mean, Tracy is her unique own commentator, and everybody that I've run onto that I do this stuff with, I just love the back and forth. I love the banter. I love the whatever. And I just think it'd be really cool. I mean, for example, Forest Mommy, if she would be willing to do it, I think would be fantastic as a co-host, because I'd love to hear what's going on out in Colorado. And if she's just bringing news pieces from the state of Colorado, I think that'd be cool. you know, maybe Gothics would agree to come on here some night. Lady G is a co-host. Of course, she's out in California right now, along with the rest of the Walkway group. Mike Harlow would be another one I'd love to have on here. God, we'd be up all night knowing Mike. He's one of those Italians who's blessed with a gift for gab, so he'd be fantastic. But that's kind of where my brain's going right now, and I really think it'd be a load of fun. So I think that's the general direction that I'm going to try and head, and hopefully we can make it fun for you as the audience, and other people will come on and say, hey, this guy may be goofy looking, but he actually runs a pretty good live stream. So, so we'll see what happens. All right, last piece of housekeeping, and then we'll dive into what we've got tonight. Tomorrow evening, 9 p.m. Eastern, going to have a couple of friends of the Front Porch come back. Kelly Lamb from Rebel News and Sean from Third Railify will be here. We're going to do a breakdown, or at least discuss for about an hour or so, the recent Canadian elections. And, you know, I've been dying to get their thoughts on the whole matter because, and again, following American politics is hard enough for me. Following somebody else's politics in their country is a whole other thing. But that whole election just kind of like, did I think the Conservatives had a chance to win in Canada? Yeah. Am I surprised they lost? No. Am I kind of surprised at how it all shook out? Yeah, I am. So I'd like to get their perspective on it. They both graciously agreed they're going to come on tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern. We're going to do it for just an hour. Sean's got, you know, family responsibilities that kind of require him to duck out at 10 p.m. So, I mean, an hour would be just perfect. But if you can, mark it on your calendars. I'll get the link out to it either tonight or first thing in the morning. And we're going to have Sean from Third Railify and Kelly Lamb of Rebel News on the live stream to discuss the recent Canadian elections. So mark your calendars, and we will roll from there. All right, let's get down to business. Funny business in this case. We will start off, as is our wont, with the Merry Memes section of the show. And these memes are brought to you compliments of Adam, our favorite crazy Canadian, and by the compliments of that very nice gentleman on Rumble, WWG1. Oh, it's going to be a very busy week for me, dear, because after that, we've got Front Porch Brunch on Saturday. So it's like, it's like, geez. Anyway, oh, by the way, you other 7 or so folks out there on YouTube, just to let y'all know, if you're here for the first time, we love you. And if you don't want to comment on things going on, that's okay. If you do feel like chiming in, feel free to do so, but don't feel like you have to just lurk. We are a full participatory live stream. We love it when everybody just jumps in on something. So, you know. Anyway, all right. And same thing goes for you rumblers over there. I mean, I know the OG wingnuts are hanging out over there, but don't be intimidated by those guys. They might be crazy, but they're good crazy. So, you know, just saying. All right. The Merry Meme section of the show. You know, everybody talks about Elon Musk. Everybody talks about, you know, particularly people who don't like him, how he's a threat to something. He's a threat to democracy. He's a threat to the free market. He's a threat to this and a threat to that. You know, he's a threat to everything. Well, apparently, the things that he is now threatening are kind of reaching into the realm of the silly. I mean, did you know that Elon Musk is a threat now to Democrat hypocrisy? I mean, really, who knew that Elon Musk was so powerful and so frightening, ladies and gentlemen, that he is a threat to Democrat hypocrisy? I mean, I don't know about you guys, but it's really kind of amazing. It really is. I mean, Elon Musk is many things. Now he's a threat to hypocrisy. TBA says he's also a threat to grifters, money launderers, and thieves in government. Amen, brother. Amen to that. So, yes, he is absolutely a threat to all things accordingly. You know, Donald Trump keeps talking about how America is about to enter a new golden age. And you know what? There are little green shoots of that everybody is seeing everywhere they turn. As a matter of fact, proof of that is the Hasbro toy company. Now, you're sitting there saying to me, Front Porch, come on, dude. The Hasbro toy company, what the heck is the Hasbro toy company got to do with the new golden age of America that Trump keeps talking about? Well, lest you think that that politics and culture are not mixed together. Hasbro has come out with a toy that they're about to launch that I tell you what is a true sign of the times in which we live. Now, I will say one thing. I will say one thing for Hasbro. I don't know how well this toy is going to be received in certain states. I mean, for example, when a kid in Connecticut opens up this toy on Christmas morning, the new toy is called Border Snitch. You'll notice it comes complete with its own old school cell phone, with its own border wall, with a truck apparently that's operated by ice or batteries included, and the various other players in this thing. Like I say, if you're a kid in Connecticut or Rhode Island or Massachusetts, Jersey, I don't know. I don't know how well this toy is going to be received, ladies and gentlemen. So, going to be interesting. Going to be very interesting to see. But and if Hasbro better watch out on this one. If Hasbro's not careful, you're going to have other toy makers out there around the world, copycatting this thing, and before you know it, they start undercutting the profits. So be on the lookout for the latest Christmas gift. You want to do your Christmas shopping early? Get your kid one of these, Border Snitch. Like I said, and I think the price on this is $19.95 plus $2 for shipping and handling. So, we'll go from there with it. WWG1, where you find some of these, I have no idea. But I tell you what, you are a meme master extraordinaire. That's all I'm saying, brother. Meme master extraordinaire. Yeah. Well, speaking of signs of the times, and I'm going to try and be a little bit delicate with this subject. Apparently, men are starting, of a certain generation in this country, are starting to experience a certain sexually related problem. And again, I'm going to try and be a gentleman about this. I'm going to try and be delicate, but you know what? As we are always trying to stay relevant and on the what Rush Limbaugh used to call the cutting edge of societal evolution, these things do need to be discussed sometimes. And apparently now men of a certain generation are starting to experience a certain problem during, shall we say, intimate time with their significant other. And now, before y'all start thinking that it's some of the things you might normally associate with those no, it's not those kind of problems. Apparently, believe it or not, men of a certain generation are starting to have problems with their eyesight during sex. Craziest thing I've ever heard of. I mean, but I've got a report here of a typical example of what I'm talking about here. This guy goes to the doctor, says, "My eyes are burning during sex." Doctor's like, "Well, apparently that's normal. It's from the pepper spray." So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if this problem is strictly associated to just one generation or what the heck. But I mean, apparently it's an issue right now. So, just be advised, if you start hearing about more and more cases of this, that, ladies and gentlemen, is what is going on. Okay. Men are having eyesight problems during sex. The cause, well, who knows? I mean, it's just, could be pepper spray. Maybe it could be something else. I don't know. Eyes are burning, watery eyes. I don't know. It's crazy. It's just crazy, y'all. Absolutely crazy. All right. What else do we have in the way of the merry memes? Oh, goodness me. TBA says bear spray. I hadn't thought about that, but TBA, you might be onto something there, brother. you might be onto something there. This next one is compliments of WWG1, and sometimes a meme. Oh my word! What is this? I was gonna say you're not doing it right if your man isn't cross-eyed after. Just saying. Oh, Nelly. Okay, well, woo! This porch just got real spicy. Oh man. Whew. Oh my goodness. Whew. Lordy, now I'm getting all hot and bothered here. Oh my gosh. Not that kind of hot and bothered. Cool it. Anyway. Oh, goodness me. You bunch of anyway. Some memes well, that is true. That is true. TBA. He did start it. Yes. Yeah, I did. There's no denying that one. There's no denying that. Yeah, that's absolutely true. Where was I? Whew, okay. Some memes are pretty much their own self-explanatory, and I gotta thank WWG1 for this one because the message in this is so true. I'm just gonna let this one speak for itself. Idolizing a politician is like believing the stripper really likes you. He ain't wrong. WWG1, as always, bringing the wisdom. Bringing the wisdom, ladies and gentlemen. That's all I'm going to say. You know what? That one's so good. I know that WWG1 popped that in on the Rumble side, but you know what? It is so worth it. I'm doing this for everybody. That's a good one. You might want to save that someplace. Let's see. What else do we have going on here? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You know, yeah, that's true, dear. That is absolutely true. Totally true. Too true indeed. Sadly. Very sadly. TBA says, print that and take it to your local town hall. That would be something that everybody would really get a kick out of, I think. Truly. Oh, hello, Kitty. Mwah. Good to have you here tonight, and I will blow a kiss in your general direction. Good to have you in on the porch. Oh, goodness me. They say that the behaviors that you let kids get away with will truly and more or less influence what they are growing up in life. And I wholeheartedly believe that. And considering some of the things that we're seeing today, you'd really like to go back in time and kick some kids' rear ends because, you remember these kids? Yeah, well, now we know what they're like when they've grown up. Just saying. Yep. Never let them get away with it if you think they're going to do it when they get older. Some of the best parental advice I can possibly give you from a person who's not a parent, by the way. So there you go. And there you go. All right. What else have we got going on here? Was this? Oh, by the way, we have an update on the Biden Presidential Library. Yeah, I mean, I know it's kind of early to start thinking about it, but it turns out that the construction on the Biden Presidential Library, not only is it underway, but it is complete. And I, you know what? I didn't think they could get a presidential library done that fast. The man just got out of office in January, and now he's got a whole presidential library set up, all that money that was raised for it and everything else. But there is something funny going on with the presidential library in Wilmington, Delaware. I don't know if it's going to hold all of Joe Biden's papers. And as a matter of fact, there is some controversy related to the presidential library because apparently there are some money problems. It's done. It's done, but the funny thing is, it's done way ahead of schedule, and it's about $100 million over budget. No one can quite figure out why this is, as a matter of fact. I don't know, guys. There might be something to this. So, I mean, well, yeah, it does look about right. It does look about right. TBA says, was it a dumpster? No, it wasn't a dumpster. This is the presidential library for Joe Biden, but apparently it, yeah, I think you begin to see the problem here. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh, good Lord, Zippy's in the house. Look out, guys. Look, whatever y'all were saying about him before he got here, just ixnay that stuff. So, in health-related news, there's a bit of a controversy going on right now in the Maha movement, by the way. I don't know if you guys have heard about this or not, but there's a great debate among Maha people about the benefits of one type of food over another. I mean, for example, how many of y'all out there, give me an F in the chat. Give me an F in the chat if you guys were raised on the idea of, vitamin D milk, no skim, no half, no nothing, just full, and steak and eggs for breakfast and all that good stuff. And, and maybe you've got friends. Maybe you've got friends that are into, very healthy alternatives now, like avocado toast and, stuff like that. Well, there's a controversy that's arisen apparently inside of Maha, and they've put it to the test. They've gone so far with this controversy. They've got one test group over here that is, drinking whole milk and eating steak and eggs for breakfast. And over here, you got, folks eating, avocado toast, and they're trying alternatives. And ladies and gentlemen, I think the results of this experiment are kind of speaking for themselves. I don't know about you guys, but I'm with the full fat milk steak and eggs crowd, because if I'm going to grow up looking like the guy, on the left from 87, I would rather have that than growing up, looking like the guy drinking the soy milk and eating the avocado toast. Okay. I'm for the, I am definitely for the full fat milk steak and eggs. Okay. That's just me. Yeah. I'm not quite ready to go with the soy milk crowd. I can't make that happen, guys. Just can't do it. Yikes. Oy vey. Weesh. What a bunch. Lana says, whole milk. Yeah, I remember it well. No steak and eggs, but we did have homemade biscuits, scrambled eggs, and bacon. That was my breakfast on many, many a Saturday morning. I cannot even begin to tell you how many good Saturday mornings I had waking up and just really enjoying some fine food. Fine food indeed. Goodness me. Tell you what, 2 more real quick memes. As soon as TBA says, bacon was a luxury in my family, so we didn't have it much. Hey, I can understand that. I can absolutely understand that, my friend. I totally get that one. Some families lived, some families times were tougher than others. I had cornmeal mush growing up. Had that a time or two. TBA says also, when we did have bacon, Mama cooked it to a brittle crunch. Amen to that. Amen to that. And after I got married, yeah, it's true. I feel y'all. I know exactly what you're talking about. No, exactly. Ladies and gentlemen, as you all know, we talk about all kinds of subjects on the Electronic Front Porch, some cultural, some political, and some economic. And sometimes we even have guests come on, like Robin McCutcheon, the good doctor of economics, to talk about matters economic. And sometimes a picture will give you an understanding of why it is you should act and be a certain way. I'm just going to let this one speak for itself. If you ever needed a reason why we should call for an end to the Federal Reserve, just look at this picture and let it sink in. Okay? Just let that sink in, folks. And that's all I'm saying. Yeah. Completely. Absolutely. All right, one more, then we're going to get down to some news. You know, going back to our friend Kilmar Abrego Garcia, you know, the state of Maryland, or I should say its citizens, really do feel like they're getting a bad rap. A lot of folks are giving them grief about, you know, this, that, or the other. Well, the citizens of Maryland just want you to know Abrego Garcia is not reflective of them. As a matter of fact, certain groups of Marylanders, particularly the men, okay, have started their own sort of underground advertising campaign to try to get people to understand that Maryland is more than just this guy who, you know, is now the poster child for a discussion about illegal immigration. They want you to know that above all else, Maryland men, they're doing things. Maryland men doing Maryland men things. So there you go, my friends. If ever you wondered what goes on in Maryland, well, we can honestly tell you, this is it. This is what it's all about. Maryland men doing Maryland men things. So there you go. All right. As always, I want to take a moment to thank Adam. I want to thank WWG1 and everybody else who contributed to the Merry Memes section of the show tonight. Y'all are just absolutely great. Zippy's got a message. He says, gravy sausage, sometimes bacon, bacon 2, eggs, sometimes pancakes 2, half was leftovers. Breakfast of the gods a couple of times a month was glorious. Yes, sir. There is nothing in that menu that sounds bad, my friend. I just want you to know that. Not a daggone thing sounds bad. That all looks good. Yummy. Absolutely yummy. All right. Okay, let's get down to business. Now, I mentioned a little bit earlier that Sean from Third Railify and Kelly Lamb are going to be here tomorrow night. And no, we didn't forget the biscuits and gravy, brother, or grits. Oh, grits, excuse me. I misread that. Grits. No, sir, there's no forgetting grits. Anyway. Yeah, Sean from Third Railify and Kelly Lamb are going to be here tomorrow night, and we're going to talk over the Canadian election. But I want to touch on one story that's come out today, and you know, elections have, you know, you've heard the old expression, elections have consequences. Well, the election of Mark Carney as the new Prime Minister of Canada has set in motion something that I don't know where it's going to end. But I'll tell you this much. The politics of Canada may be about to change for a very long time to come. Now, for those of you not familiar, here's what I'm getting at. there are certain provinces in Canada that for a long time now have been talking about secession. Yes, I use the word secession. The same argument that we went through over 160 years ago as a nation. That is not just talk up there. It's being seriously kicked around, and particularly by Western provinces, British Columbia, Saskatchewan, and more particularly Alberta. Now, of the three of them, from what I understand, and we can talk about this tomorrow night with Sean and Kelly, Alberta is the most vocal in their desire to get away from the federal government of Canada, the Commonwealth of Canada, I should call it. And after what happened Monday night, there is a renewed move afoot to get out from under the thumb of the Commonwealth of Canada. And if you don't believe me, check this story out. This was posted on Twitter, and we got some further stuff to go along with it. The premier of Alberta, last name Smith, introduced something called Bill 54. Now, if you don't know what this is, Bill 54 would basically do the following. It would allow the number of individuals needed on a petition to get something on the ballot to be reduced from, currently it's like 600,000, and you have 90 days to do it in. In other words, if you want to get something on the ballot to be voted upon by people in the province of Alberta, currently you have to get 600 registered voters, and you have to do it 90 days. Bill 54 would lower that threshold considerably. I think the number is, what is it? Hang on a minute. Yeah, you would need 10% of the voters from the last election to trigger a referendum. So let's just say, for the sake of round numbers, that 1 million people voted in the province of Alberta. If Bill 54 is enacted into law in the province of Alberta, then basically it would take 100,000 registered voters who had participated in the last election. If they sign up on a referendum, then something's going on the ballot in the next election. And not only that, the amount of time needed to get the signatures expands from 90 to 120 days. So basically you're giving them an extra 30 to get 10% of the signatures of registered voters from the previous election. Now, this is a proposed bill, okay? He'd be good to have on. Ian Runkle would be fantastic. Runkle of the Bailey. Good guy, especially on matters of Second Amendment. Well, guns in Canada, they don't necessarily have a Second Amendment, but you get my point. So this bill gets introduced by the Premier, Danielle Smith, in Alberta. Now, you might sit there and say, well, okay, it's just an introduced bill. Guys, and again, I'll talk about this with Sean and Kelly, but to me, this is a shot across the bow at Mark Carney, the incoming Prime Minister of Canada. Alberta has been talking for years, and I mean years, about the idea of seceding from the Confederation of Canada, from the Commonwealth of Canada. They want out. They don't feel like that the government in the East is representing them. Their voters apparently are much more conservative. Now, keep in mind, you're talking Canadian conservatism against American conservatism. Those are like, they're similar, but they're different. Okay, so with that caveat. But Alberta's been kicking this around for a while. And now you've got the Canadian equivalent of the governor, okay, their premier, what we would call a governor here in America, introducing a bill saying, okay, we're going to make it easier for the voters of Alberta that if they want to get a referendum on the ballot for people to vote on it, here's what you got to do. Now, does this mean that Alberta is going to secede from Canada tomorrow? No. As a matter of fact, I've got an article here from the Globe and Mail. Apparently, this is a Canadian newspaper. And headline, I'll show it to you guys real quick. Here we go. Alberta Premier Danielle Smith says her government will not push for a vote on separation. This is an article by a reporter named Carrie Tayat. We'll do it that way. The other pronunciation is going to get me in trouble. Alberta Premier Danielle Smith, who has long clashed with Ottawa over energy and environmental policies, rolled out a bill making it easier for residents to force a provincial referendum, although she insisted her government would not push for a vote on separation. Ms. Smith, who in March threatened a national unity crisis unless Canada's next prime minister implements her policy wish list, said Tuesday that most MPs elected in the federal election pledged to develop resources and work with provinces to establish ways to get products to market. The Premier said she will ask Prime Minister Mark Carney, who led the Liberals to victory on Monday, to pursue energy policies friendly to her province and the oil and gas industry she has said would align with how he pitched himself on the campaign trail. Quote, his mandate comes from moderate voters who actually want this province to be a genuine energy superpower and for the country to be a genuine energy superpower, Ms. Smith told reporters. A small but vocal faction of Alberta right-leaning voters has been pressing for the province to leave Confederation, especially now that the federal Liberals secured their fourth consecutive term. On Tuesday, Ms. Smith unveiled a sheaf of changes to acts governing democracy and election financing in the province. They include lowering the number of eligible signatures needed to trigger a referendum or recall a politician and extending the time frame in which the names could be collected. Now I love the way she's doing this, by the way. I love the way she's doing this. Basically, what she's basically saying is this. Hey, we're not going to push for separation. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to make it easier for everybody else to do it. In other words, I won't put the knife in myself. I'll just hand the knife over to someone else and let them stick it in. Personally, I find that to be a little bit of a cop-out. I mean, look, Danielle, I know you're watching this live stream. If you're going to do it, just do it. If you do not want Alberta to be part of Canada anymore, honey, pick up the bugle and blow the charge. I mean, you may as well go for it. I mean, you're not going to get any better than what you got right now. The Conservatives blew their chance to become the governing party of Canada. They really did. Now, matter of fact, hang on a minute. I got to look up something real fast. Election results in Canada 2025. What I'm looking for is this. Yeah. Now, there is one interesting thing about all this, okay? There is one interesting thing. The Liberal Party of Canada does not have an out-and-out majority. It takes 172 or 174 seats in Canada in the Canadian Parliament to hold the majority. They don't have it. Now, odds are the Liberals will do a coalition with a couple or three other parties, the Greens in particular up there, and they'll have themselves a working majority. But the Conservatives, for the time being, I heard one statistic the other night, and I think it was from Ezra Levant of Rebel News. Pierre Poilievre, the leader of the Conservative Party in Canada, got the largest share of vote for a Conservative in Canada since Brian Mulroney in the 1980s. And he still couldn't get the majority. Let that sink in for a second. Pierre Poilievre, the leader of the Conservative Party of Canada, led his party on election night to the largest vote share that they've gotten since the 1980s under then Prime Minister Brian Mulroney. And they still couldn't win the general election. So, since you're not going to get a better deal than what you got right now, hey, Danielle, I mean, stop being coy about it. If you want to see Alberta secede, just go ahead and do it. And if you were smart, there's one or two things I'd recommend you do. Get British Columbia and Saskatchewan to go with you. Or, upon seceding, open negotiations with the United States. What have you got to lose? If you became the 51st state in America, think of all the... And I am not trying to be a troll here. I'm really not. But think about all the advantages that you would get that go along with it. Seriously. Just saying. Think about it. Anyway. No, I came across that and I was like, that's interesting. Yeah, that's interesting. So, where are we, folks? It is, what is it now? 10 minutes to 7? All right, let me do a real quick commercial and then we'll move on to a couple other things. If you've happened on this live stream and, oh, really? No, I didn't realize this. Hang on. My family chose Seattle instead of Winnipeg to settle in. Ah, okay. So your family is from Canada then, but they chose Seattle instead of Winnipeg. Okay, I can respect that. If you've happened on this live stream, you have found your way to the Wednesday night newsroom. My name is Brian Trippett, and my social media handle is the Front Porch Conservative. We get together midweek to kind of catch up on what's going on and see if we can make sense of it all. I would appreciate it if you haven't done it yet. Hit the thumbs up button for me. For everybody in the Rumble chat, everybody in YouTube, hit the thumbs up. Please, please, please hit the thumbs up. I would really appreciate it. Also, share the link around with your friends and hit the bell for notifications. Believe it or not, it really does help as far as pushing out this channel to other people. So what else is going on for us to talk about? Well, folks, it's official. Today is Trump's 100th day in office. And had a big cabinet meeting today, but last night they had a rally up in Michigan. And uh-oh. We're going to ignore that. That sounded like rain. Anywho. Oh, Iceland. Oh, your family's from Iceland? Oh, wow. Okay. Cool. I didn't. All right. Well, there you go. So last night they had a big old rally up in Michigan, and as things are wont to happen, the news media is outside checking things out. And Peter Doocy from Fox News is on the ground in Michigan, and I want to play you a clip because I think this is very interesting. Ladies and gentlemen, do me a favor and check this out. This runs about 2 minutes. As always, give me a sound check and let me know if the sound's working okay. But check this out.
The president's not supposed to start talking for another 5 hours or so, but it's a lovely day here outside Detroit, and there are a ton of people. So I think we might just go ask some folks what it is that they liked the most about the first 100 days. You guys, we are live right now on Fox. Look at that. So, pardon me. First 100 days, anything that you liked more than the rest of the stuff?
Closing our border.
Closing the border, okay. And how far did you guys have to come today to be here?
Just show her pictures.
I came from Wisconsin, Prentice.
Came from Wisconsin, all right. So 5 miles, okay. So obviously it's a crowd of Trump supporters, of course, but we can try to do a little poll. Who here thinks that the number one thing in the first 100 days is what Trump has done at the border?
Yeah!
Okay. Border. Now let's try it with tariffs.
We are getting money for Trump.
Okay, all right. And what's that?
Ouch!
All right. And so,
Our hard dollar earning tax dollars.
okay, all right. And so you can hear this is the crowd that President Trump has waiting for him when he leaves Washington, D.C. Something else that's really interesting, actually, before President Trump gets here, he's going to stop. Did you guys know about this? Before President Trump gets here, he's going to stop at a National Guard base, and he's going to meet with the governor, Gretchen Whitmer. Okay. She was, of course, at the Oval Office a week or two ago and tried to cover her face with a portfolio. Sandra?
Peter,
Okay, now I play that for you guys because one thing that I have noticed in the mainstream media is the almost desperate, and I mean desperate, attempt to break Trump supporters off of Donald Trump. They have tried everything. They have tried more things than I don't even care to think about to get Trump voters off of Trump. They can't do it. I mean, matter of fact, there is something. Let me see if I can find this real fast. Yeah, here it is. Here it is. Matter of fact, this kind of goes to it. Frank Luntz, everybody's favorite pollster that irritates the crap out of them, is on CNBC, had one of his more recent focus groups. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is a fairly interesting exchange. I got to play this for you guys. Runs about a minute. And with that, folks, do me a favor and check this out in 3, 2, 1.
I've been mocked for saying I'm surprised about this, but I'm surprised about this, that Trump voters who acknowledge that they're worth less today than they were on election day, that the 401ks they depend on for their future has been hurt, has been damaged. And yet they stand behind him. They'll make excuses that the markets were overbought. They'll make excuses that we need to level set. They're willing to accept personal pain for them to get a readjustment of the relationship between the U.S. and China, a readjustment of the relationship between the U.S. and the rest of the world. They'll take personal pain to get that readjustment. And Andrew, I've never seen this before. Because usually when you're hurt economically, that changes your perspective and your politics. Not with these people. They're staying firm.
Okay. Frank, I want to address this for a moment, my friend, because I don't think you understand the people that you purport to cover. TBA says, oh, that toupee is awful. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. TBA also says, just like Rush Limbaugh, the media didn't make Rush, nor did they make Trump, so the media will never be able to destroy Trump's connection with his voters. Oh, that is so true, my friend. That is so true. I don't think Frank gets it. And what I mean is this, okay? How do I want to put this? The American people have a very simple, I shouldn't say simple, that's not a good way to put it. The American people want a very basic relationship with their government, particularly the federal government, okay? And the relationship basically goes like this. as much as you can, play it straight with us. Tell us what's going on as much as you can. We understand there's some things you can't. We get it. But tell us what's going on. You do that, we got your back. The Trump voters in particular, and I think Frank Luntz on this point is absolutely spot on right. They want the changes. They want the changes that Trump is trying to implement. Reshoring manufacturing back to the U.S., changing our trade relationship with China such that we're not dependent on them for every cotton picking thing we have, changing our trade relationships with other nations so that we're getting a better deal so that when we export stuff, we can actually create more jobs here at home. The things that Trump ran on are the things that his voters want to see happen. If it takes a little bit of time to make that happen, so be it. I mean, I'm not going to try and speak for everybody here in my audience. Everybody's got a different situation, things they may or may not be going through. I get it. But I think I find it amazing that someone like Frank Luntz, who's been in the public eye for so many years and supposedly has his thumb on the pulse of the voters, just shocked that they're willing to accept a little bit of economic short-term pain to see this stuff implemented. I mean, Frank, what did you think? Oh, no, small time. Glad to see you in the house, my brother. Boom. And this is a good point. The Dow is down 6.5 since Trump took office, but to hear the media, you think it's down 25. Yeah. I mean, I think, what was the Dow running on the day Trump came in? Hang on a minute. I got to find this real fast. It won't take me but a second. Hang on, folks. The Dow Jones Industrials, on the day Trump took office, you want to know what it was running? On the day he took office, opened that morning at 43,528 points. You know what it's at right now? About 40,000, call it 40,700. It's a decrease, but not that bad. Okay? It opened at 43,528. It settled today at 40,700. And I want to put this back up here for perspective. Small time is absolutely right. To hear the media, you would think that we're on the edge of the Great Depression. And this is just something, and I think small time, you're absolutely right. Dishonest as ever, and they cannot understand why they are losing credibility. They don't get it. TBA over on Rumble says, so the Dow is only down less than 3,000 points in 100 days. Like I said, Luntz is an idiot. No, I don't disagree with you that Luntz is an idiot. But I think Luntz is indicative of the entirety of the mainstream media. They don't Selena Zito, John Cass, name the good journalists that are out there. And they have chronicled for years the disconnect between the supposed mainstream media and the average voter in this country. The media does not understand. They do not understand at all why it is that perusers of the news are turning against them. They don't get it. Well, it's stuff like this. Or Russia, or the walls are closing in on Trump now. He's going to be out of office in 3 months, or whatever. I mean, they don't get it. And the media is just shocked that Trump's supporters, and voters in general, by the way. I don't think this is necessarily confined to Trump supporters. The media is shocked that voters across the country are willing to give Trump benefit of the doubt on a lot of the policies he's trying to implement. Oh, this is very, very true. Once that afternoon happened in Pennsylvania, Trump stood up telling us to fight. That solidified a bond that will not be broken. Oh, that is so true, my friend. So true. Kitty says, a short-term pain in order to enjoy long-term gain. Yeah, and that's just it. I was watching War Room with Steve Bannon last night, doing a little show prep before Daniel came on. And John Solomon from Just the News was on with Bannon. They were, waiting around for Trump to arrive. I think he went up on stage at 6 o'clock. And John Solomon made a really great point, and he's been making it for a couple of days now. Two points, actually. One was, everybody talks about the first 100 days, the first 100 days, the first 100 days. Solomon's like, guys, while that's important, he's like, I don't think that's going to be what defines Trump's presidency. He said, I think it's going to be the next 100 days. The reconciliation bill, the Supreme Court cases that are going to get decided in the next couple of months before the end of the term, particularly on questions of federal injunctions, etc. And then lastly, he said the trade deals. Now, that leads to the second point John Solomon was making, and I think this is very valid. And Solomon's not the only one making this, by the way. Rich Barris of the People's Pundits out there saying the same thing. If Trump pulls this off, and by pull this off, I mean he gets some of these countries, Japan, South Korea, India, among others, to sign newly revamped trade deals with the United States. And the impetus for those newly signed, revamped trade deals were Trump's tariffs. Then Trump's going to get all the credit, and the Democrats are hung out to dry. Because right now, they are just desperate to hang something on Trump and make it stick. Well, now their new thing is tariffs are going to lead to economic catastrophe. Tariffs are going to lead to a Great Depression. Tariffs are going to lead to inflation. Tariffs are going to lead to every economic malady in the world. Well, what if Trump pulls off trade deals that benefit the United States short-term and long-term by causing us to grow jobs, increase tax base, more revenue coming in from tariffs, less reliance on income taxes, and so on. And then the Democrat, what are they going to do? They're hung out to dry at that point. There's nothing they can do. Not at all. So the first 100 days are important, but the next 100 days, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Anyway, some highlights from last night, or a couple of them anyway. And before I do that, Sean from Third Railify says, howdy peeps, it's good to see everyone. Sean, we are glad to have you in the house, my brother. I am so looking forward to seeing you tomorrow night at 9 o'clock along with Kelly Lamb to talk about the elections up in your country and all the fallout from it. Glad to have you in the house, my brother. Good to see you, sir. And, oh, by the way, it's not going to be too far in the future, but I think I've got another project I want you to work on for me. So just, you hold that thought. But just tuck that in the back of your head. I'll get with you in the near future when I'm ready to do it. It's not that far away, but I got another project I want you to work on, an intro and an outro for me. But I want to sit down and have a conversation with you about it. So Sean says the fallout from the elections was me getting drunk that night. Oh, God. Yeah, I can understand why, my friend. I can understand why. All right. Some highlights from last night's rally up in Michigan. Well, one highlight in particular. Trump called Stephen Miller up on stage. And let me tell you something. There are some people in Trump's administration I could take or leave. I'm not going to get into names, so just leave it at that. But there's some real superstars that are emerging in this second cabinet of Donald Trump. And I'll tell you what, Stephen Miller's one of them. And if the administration were smart, they need to put him on TV every chance they get. Every Sunday morning show they can book him on, do it. Because this guy in the years to come, and it's I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying he's old. He's got years ahead of him, God willing. But I tell you what, in the years to come, he is going to be one of the most articulate spokesmen for the populist conservative movement. And he's just doing some absolute wonders. I got a highlight here. Trump called him up on stage. And man, you talk about blowing the doors off of this thing. Folks, do me a favor and check this out.
There is nobody smarter or tougher than Stephen Miller. Stephen, say it. Who's enjoying 100 golden days of America? President Trump has achieved the most secure border in American history. He's fighting violent crime. He's fighting the drug cartels. He's cutting your taxes. He's cutting wasteful spending. He's draining the swamp. He's standing up to the radical left. He's standing up to the communists, and he's making America stronger than it's ever been. President Trump will never stop fighting for you, your children, and your family. And President Trump will make sure that in this country, not illegal aliens, not criminals, not gangbangers, but American citizens come first, last, and always. Thank you. And thank you, President Trump, for being the greatest president in American history.
You know, I don't know about you guys, but I think Steve Miller, he might have himself a future in public speaking. I mean, I'm not saying, but I'm just saying, wow. I'm telling you, put this guy on TV. What the heck's the matter with you guys in the White House? Put him on TV every chance you get, dadgummit. So, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Mercy, mercy me. Mercy, mercy me. Lord Almighty. Tell you what. What is it now? 10 minutes after? Okay. I'm going to have to save one of my topics for another occasion, and not because time's running short on me, but there is one other topic I want to get into tonight, but one of them I'm going to say till Saturday morning. Now, okay, yep, all right, good, cool. I've got one last topic I want to do tonight. Oh, well, hang on. Before I switch over, Sean from Third Rail says, but in reality, while Trump did more in his first 100 days than some presidents do in 4 years, Trump is really beginning to slow down. Ukraine and China have bogged him down. I agree with you there. I don't know that I'd say that China's bogged him down, but Ukraine is definitely bogging him down. What I don't understand, and again, I am not privy to every piece of information, but there's one thing about Ukraine I do not understand. And it's this. Trump could have ended the war the day he was inaugurated if he goes in and says, any weapons going to Ukraine, cut them off, turn them around. Any money going to Ukraine, shut it down. Any intelligence that we're sharing with Ukraine, cut it off. In other words, if they got nothing left to fight with, they're going to want to come to the negotiating table. And again, I'm not privy to every piece of information, but the thing I've never quite understood about the way Trump is doing this is play hardball from the beginning, get them to the table and get the deal done. Now, TBA, you got a valid point. Timing is everything. I totally agree with that. But I don't understand. I don't understand why, with regard to Ukraine at least, I don't understand why Trump is taking the tack that he's taking. And again, I'm not privy to every piece of information, so I come in with that humble caveat. But yeah, I agree with you. Ukraine's definitely bogging him down. I'll agree with that. All right. One last thing, and Salty Old Fart over on Rumble, I saw you come in the room. Thank you very much for being here, sir. Glad to have you in the house tonight. TBA says there's more going on in the Ukraine-Russia thing than war. All right, fair point. Fair point indeed. Small Time says Miller is too much of a policy wonk to let him run for office. No, I agree with you there. But what I mean is, man, get him on TV. Get him speaking and explaining why the administration is doing what it's doing. That's what I'm getting at. Anyway, Governor J.B. Pritzker of Illinois. I know you roll your eyes as much as I do at the mention of the man's name. J.B. Pritzker of Illinois, or as legendary reporter John Cass, formerly of the Chicago Tribune, calls him Governor Fat Boy, or Governor Jabba. That might be a good name for him. Yeah, really. Governor Fat Boy Pritzker was up in New Hampshire recently, and there's always been an accusation against the Democrats that they are inciting violence. And any time that accusation is laid at the feet of the Democrats, oh, that's a conspiracy theory. Oh, that's just rhetoric. Oh, that's just blah, 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 blah. Yada, yada, yada. That's not true. Blah, 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 blah. Really? Did you all see any Governor Pritzker's speech up in New Hampshire? And by the way, he's running for president. And I know y'all sitting there rolling your eyes going, you mean California in the Midwest is going to try and run? Yeah, and that's probably a good way to describe Illinois right now. It is the California of the Midwest. It's that big of a disaster. I mean, for all the problems that get talked about in the state of California, Illinois is as bad, maybe even worse. Okay? And yeah, he's running for president. But anyway, so old Governor Fat Boy is giving a speech. And this speech to me is just mind-boggling. This runs about 45 seconds, but I want you guys to hear this. This is not edited, by the way. This is not a clip. Okay? No one is AI generating this. All right? So with that, here you go.
Never before in my life have I called for mass protests, for mobilization, for disruption, but I am now. These Republicans cannot know a moment of peace. They have to understand that we will fight their cruelty with every megaphone and microphone that we have. We must castigate them on the soapbox and then punish them at the ballot box.
Now, TBA says, sounds like incitement of violence to me. Arrest the fatso. You know what? I tell you what, I will be totally fair about this. Okay. I'm going to play that one more time, uninterrupted. I want you guys to hear this. Okay. I want you guys to hear this. And you guys tell me what you think of this comment. Okay. And with that, I'll play it one more time. In 3, 2, 1.
Never before in my life have I called for mass protests, for mobilization, for disruption, but I am now.
mass protests and mobilization. Now let's hear the rest of it.
These Republicans cannot know a moment of peace.
These Republicans cannot know a moment of peace.
They have to understand that we will fight their cruelty with every megaphone and microphone that we have. We must castigate them on the soapbox and then punish them at the ballot box.
Castigate them on the soapbox and punish them at the ballot box. All right. TBA says mobilization, disruption, punishment, no peace, fight, all words that incite violence. They Small Time says they think they can act edgy to get traction the left can't meme. I think it skirts along the edge of incitement. Had he stopped at protests, okay, fine, but he goes to disruption, and that's where it gets dicey for me. Zippy says, lock him up. Officials should be held to higher standards. I don't disagree with you, Zippy. I mean, I don't disagree with you at all. Now, there is a reason why I play that clip. Now, I don't know if you guys saw this or not, but Jamie Raskin, Democrat from Maryland, was holding a rally the other day. And one of our favorite populist reporters was in attendance. I will not say who yet. But that person, that reporter, I'll go ahead and tell you who it was Jack Posobiec. Jack Posobiec was attending a rally being held by Jamie Raskin. And what happened next? I will make an argument, is the direct result of Pritzker's comment. Okay? So with that, ladies and gentlemen, watch this.
The right to organize unions. Yeah. For redress agreements, we're going to defend the right to assemble. Yeah. We know with Dr. King that the greatness of America is the right to protest for what is right. Against lawbreakers in take office. And that's where we are today. I'll leave you with my friends with the words of the great Marylander Frederick Douglass.
Jamie, why did you lose the popular vote? Why did you lose every single swing state? Why did you lose? Why did let me talk? Let me talk. It's not fake. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. They're assaulting you, motherfucker. Why'd you?
Okay, I will say this, and I will admit, I did not watch this before I played it for you guys. Posobiec kind of brought that one on himself. Okay. Should he have popped off the question in the comment he did to Raskin? Well, maybe, maybe not. But he's got the right to do it. But what did the Democrat supporters do there? They accosted the man simply for asking a question. Okay, a question maybe that was ill-timed or ill-placed. But you begin to see what's going on here. People like Pritzker, Nancy Pelosi, Maxine Waters, Chuck Schumer, etc., and so on, they are inciting these people. And these Democrat supporters are going to go out and do some crazy stuff. Oh, I'm not necessarily either, but I play this as proof of the point. This is, I mean, it's already crazy. These people are going to get crazier. And comments like Pritzker's ain't helping the matter. Not in the slightest. Like I said, you could make an argument, that what Posobiec did, ill-timed, inappropriate, whatever. Okay, maybe. But he's got the right to do it. What they don't have the right to do is assault the man. Now, did Jack Posobiec wind up having an arm broken or getting put in the hospital or whatever? No, but that's not the point. The response from that crowd is not what we are supposed to be about in America. We're supposed to be about the willingness to engage our political opponents and ideas and do it peacefully. What you all just saw, in my opinion, is gasoline on the fire. This is not, like I say, this is not good on so many levels. But anyway. All right, let's go ahead and bring this train into the station. Thank you guys so much for being here tonight for a session of the Wednesday Night Newsroom. It has been an absolute joy to host this. Thank you so much. We will be back tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern. Sean from Third Railify is going to be on here. Kelly Lamb, formerly of Rebel News. And actually, I think she did some coverage on election night. So, yeah, come back tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern. We're going to talk Canadian politics, particularly the election and where it goes from here. And this Saturday morning, barring something I don't know, we will be doing Front Porch Brunch, our normal weekend get-together. So, friends, thank you so much for being here. Remember, hit the like button on your way out, share the link, hit the bell for notifications, and we will see you tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. In the meanwhile, remember the words of that great American philosopher Tom T. Hall when he said, "It's faster horses, younger lovers, older whiskey, and more money." Love you guys. We'll see you tomorrow night at 9 o'clock.